Hi, this is a tutorial for MovieMaker, and if you're not familiar with it, this should hopefully help show you how to. Now, in this specific tutorial, we're going to go over the Storybird movie project that you guys have done in EDU 250. So, first thing you ever do when you go into MovieMaker is you add in whatever pictures that you need. So we're going to click add videos and photos, and then I'm going to find my pictures, and then I'm going to put them each of them in there one by one. Okay, so now I have all of my pictures in, and as you can see down here, it only accounts for 1 minute and 38 seconds. So I'm pretty sure that my audio is a little over 3 minutes. So I'm going to make this, let's see. So now I'm going to go over here and make the duration of each slide, let's say 40 to start off with, because I need at least 3 minutes. So I'm going to type in the number that I want for the duration of each slide, which I have chosen 40 because I need to get it up to over 3 minutes. And I'm going to do that for each one until I get the result that I'm looking for. And once you do this, if you realize it goes way over the time that you need, you can go back and change it before you add in your audio or make any edits. You can change the duration to whatever you need it to be beforehand. That's the best way to go about it. But for now, we'll start with 40, and we'll go from there. It looks like I'm going to need actually 20. So let's actually change this to 20 because it seems like it's going to be a bit too long. And then I'm going to have to edit it down anyways. So we'll see what this does. $20. 20. 20. 20. And whenever you have pictures in here and you need to change the duration of them, which even after you put in your audio, you might need to change the duration of these. But I would suggest that it really depends on how much you need to edit out of your audio. If there's a lot that you're going to edit out of it, if you like take out particularly large chunks of your audio that took up quite a bit of time altogether, then you would need to change the duration of these slides. Well, first of all, before you even put your audio in, you set the duration to something that goes at least over the time that it took for you to do your audio. So let's say your audio was 4 minutes long. So you need your slides to take up more than 4 minutes. And where you can find the time that it takes up is right here, this end number. This number right here represents what part of the movie you're at. So this black cursor right here represents that first number. The second number is how much time it takes total, altogether, the whole movie. So like I said, right now I'm just going to put 20 in for each. It's going to go over, but it's okay. And then, now that I've gotten all my slides to 20, I'm going to add in my audio. So I'm going to go over here to the Home tab, and I'm going to go where it says Record Narration. Hit the arrow, and then Add Sound. Then you find your sound. Well, this is my sound, so I'm going to add it in. And this sound takes up, you can hover over it to see how long it takes. It says 3 minutes, 1 second, and I'm guessing that's 41 milliseconds. So, and that's not even including the parts of it that I'm going to take out. So, for my title, let's play it real quick. Just to give you a view of what we have to work with right now. Tessa the Hungry Giraffe, written by Taylor Milton, illustrated by Jane Doe. Vocabulary: stranger. See, right there, I made a mistake. So I'm going to have to edit out this whole section right here. Or if you made the mistake and it's not very close together, like, see, there's a gap right here, I could just move my cursor into this gap. Since this is the only part that I want to take off because it's where I messed up, I'm going to move that cursor to the part where I want to take it off. And then I'm going to go to Edit. Supposed to. Oh, narration, that's what it is. And then there's a button that says Split. So whenever you want to take a part out, you will move your cursor to where you want to remove, and then you'll click Split. Well, that just breaks this part and this part in half. So let's move this part over just a little so it's separate. And then we're going to move our cursor right here to the other side of where I made a mistake at. And then we're going to split again, separate it a little bit, and then right click, and then you click remove. Bam. Piece that I didn't want, that I made a mistake on, gone. I also have this little piece. I don't know why this one came off, but when I made this, I made a mistake and I redid the intro too. So the introduction is right here as well. So I'm just going to go ahead and remove this part also. It just depends on how you did it and how you want to do it. So that means all of this moves back. Now, if you see where it's light red and then you have your sound waves from where you were talking, well, there's a lot of space here. And there doesn't necessarily have to be this much space, because that's a pretty long pause. So we could have a little bit of a pause. So I'll move this cursor over some, about right here, and then I'm going to split it. I'll move this over a little bit just so I don't, Whoa. What is that? Why is there more than one? Okay, hold on a second. Something happened that wasn't supposed to happen. I'm going to remove all this and then I'm going to start over at what I did. So just remember what I had said previously. I'm going to add my audio back in, try to figure out what just happened. I think it was a malfunction. Or maybe well, if my mouse will work. Dude, really? There we go. Add sound. Okay. All right, so this part right here was what I wanted to take off. All of this. From here to here, that was my mistake. So, what I'm just going to do now, since I've already shown you how to split it into sections, I'm just going to break off this entire point right here. And actually, we'll take out, yeah, we'll just break this off right now. We'll start with that. So we'll split it, remove that part that I don't want. What? Okay, undo. Let's see what happened. Remove that. Remove this. Okay, now it should be fine. Now we move our cursor to where we want to take off a little bit. Split. And then we'll move this. Remove. And then we'll remove this little tiny space too. And then, oh, I didn't remove it. Oh, goodness. Come on now. I accidentally removed the slide. I really wish that would stop. Oh, goodness. I don't understand why that's happening. So we want, what is happening? This is very weird. This does not normally happen, so I'm not really sure what's going on right now, to be honest. This is just a very weird malfunction, and I'm not sure why it's doing that. Okay. Let's play this and make sure I've got the correct audio right here, because for some reason it's being weird.
Tessa the Hungry Giraffe, written by Taylor Dillon.
Okay, that's right. Move our cursor right at where we want to split it. Click split, move this back a little bit, remove. Okay, so that's not removing. Let's just move it over. Here we go. Since that tiny piece does not want to go away without causing a problem, we're just going to leave it there. Because it's not really hurting anything either. And we'll just move this over as much as possible. There we go. When we move our cursor, perfect. Now let's put the cursor back, play.
Tessa the Hungry Giraffe, written by Taylor Dilday, illustrated by Jane Doe. When you hear the sound, you will know to turn the page.
And one thing that's missing from mine that your Storybird will have is in this little pause right here, if you can see the area that I've circled, that I'm circling right now with my cursor, that pause is where I would have put in where my sound would have come in. But because my sounds, for some reason, they repeat over and over again instead of just doing, when I click on it, doing it once, they keep going and going. So I decided not to record them. But in your recording, you should have your sound. And your sound will play after you have told them what sound to look for. So where I said, when you hear this sound, and then you would play the sound, which you have already done in your video, in your audio, and then you would say, you would know to turn the page. And that's where this one ends. So that means that I need to make this one shorter. So the duration of the slide itself needs to be shorter to make up for that. So right now I have 20 seconds. Let's see. So what I need to get rid of is from here, the edge of this slide, all the way to about right here. Wait, no. No, I wouldn't, because that's just the example of the sound, and then I have, you would turn the page, and then right here you would play the sound again to flip the page. Yeah, that's right. Sorry. But before you do any of that, make sure you add your transition to your slide. And I'm kind of jumping around, and I'm sorry about that. That's just kind of how I am. I jump around a little bit, and I probably shouldn't. But it's just, oh goodness. And now it's gotten rid of my audio again. I don't understand why this is happening. Okay. All right. Just remove my audio, and we're gonna okay. What we're gonna do is, before you put your audio in, go ahead and add your transition. Your transition is up here under Animations tab. You go here. You would click the flip one because it's the closest to an actual page flip, and then you click this button that says Apply to All. Do that before you put your audio in. And I'm sorry that I didn't get to this first. It's just I didn't realize that my audio was going to have so much trouble being placed in, because before you even start editing your audio, you should have your transitions in, because then if you try to edit the duration of your slides while you're editing your audio, it won't make sense after when you apply the transition if you don't have the same malfunctions as I have been having with the audio. And I don't know why that's happening, but I'm trying to work with it as best as possible. And your other classmates don't seem to be having a problem, the issue that I'm having, so I don't know if it's just because the software is old or what's going on, but for some reason it doesn't want to act right. So I have all my slides in. I've already set a duration for them, and I have applied my transitions to every slide. And so while we're at it, we'll go ahead and add to the end. We'll add our credit slide, and we want 2 of those, because you have to account for everyone, the person who directed, the people who starred in it, and what parts they played. And then, yeah. And then on the second one, you have who did the sound, who did the illustrations. And then before your title slide of your actual book, you'll click on the title button, add another title slide. And so then you'll add in your title for your movie. So mine is Tessa the Hungry Giraffe. Then you just make that, you want to center this as much as possible. Here we go. Change the background if that's what you want to do. The background color is up here. You can edit the text. You can change the font, but you can't change the font of different words. So what I'm saying is, if you change the font of one word in this sentence, all of it will change to the same thing. So just keep that in mind. So I'm going to change my background color. My main color in here is green. That's not the right green. Let's try something different. Not quite. Let's see if I can find one. try that one. I think that's as close as I'm getting right now. So I have Tessa the Hungry Giraffe movie, and I have by Taylor Dilday, which you should have already probably done by now. We'll move that up so it looks better. And then you have your credit slide at the end. And you need to make sure that once you, even if you've added your transitions to all of the other slides, you have to make sure you add it to these two as well. So go back to animations and hit apply to all again. And then, really? Why is it doing? Oh, okay. You're going to have to click on it. You're going to have to click the transition that you want again in order to apply to all. There you go. See, now you have a triangle on each one, on each individual segment. And need to move this credits text box over, move this one over. And then your text box, you'll need to change the duration of those. There's a lot of little moving parts that go into this, so just bear with me. I'm trying to be as thorough as possible without going back and forth. It's kind of hard because you kind of run into problems. I mean, it really just depends. If you're not very experienced with it, it's easy to have problems with because it's just very small things just constantly come up and you're like, okay, well now I have to fix this problem. I just fixed this problem, but now this problem has happened. So now I have to fix this one too. That's kind of how it is when you're working with MovieMaker. And we'll change this one to 6.5 just to make it smaller. Let's try 6.25. Why is it not moving? Or is it? Maybe I'm just not. Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's moving. Okay. If you want to make a credit spot bigger. But we're not focused on that. You've already done your credits and you've already done your title. So all you need to do is make sure you've got all of these slides in here. You've set a duration for each of the slides, which you do under video tools. Go to edit. You click on the slide you want to change the duration of, and then you change it. Which I don't want this slide to be very long because it's the first one and I don't really talk during this one. So we'll make this one 4 seconds. Now we'll change our text duration, and you'll know that you're changing this little text box down here because it'll say text duration. Whereas this one, when you go to video tools, you're editing the slide duration. And it only says duration. So it's easy to kind of get things mixed up, but you just kind of have to remember which one's which and stuff. So it can be a little stressful to mess with MovieMaker, to say the least. Let's see. I'm going to take the transition off of the first one. If I can. But it'll let me. Please let me. I don't know what is happening right now. Goodness. Okay. We're just going to cut this and try again. Why is it not working? Remove. There we go. Re-add that in. then you have my movie. So just don't, yeah. Okay, so you have a transition from this one to that one. You don't need a transition at the beginning of this one. So what I would do is add in all your slides and add in your credits. Apply the transition to all of those. Then add your movie title at the beginning, and then it'll automatically transition the correct way over to the next one. But you don't want to transition at the beginning of this one, which the transition is marked by this triangle right here. So you don't want a triangle right here over your first title slide. You want it to be transitioning from the title slide to the title of your book, the actual title of the book page. So then once you've got all your transitions in and you've set the duration to make sure that the total amount of time that it takes up is a little bit more than how much time your audio takes up. So then you go to record narration, hit the arrow, add sound, then it brings you to your files and you click on the sound that you want. Well, so like I said earlier, I have my mistake right here. All of this was a mistake and I want to delete that. So I'm going to go right here. I'm going to go to narration tools and I'm going to hit split. Move this away a little bit so you don't accidentally hit the wrong one. Remove that. Move this over right to the edge of this triangle where it transitions, because you don't ever want the talking to start before the transition ends. So just always remember that. I want to take a little bit of this space off so there's not too much of a long pause here. So what I'm going to do is pull this cursor, this long black line is your cursor. You're going to pull it to where you want to edit, and you're going to hit split. So I wanted to take that space off, so I moved it away. Then I'm going to hit remove, and it takes it away. Then I drag this closer to that transition point. That way, when I hit play, this is what I hear. Let's play from the beginning. Transition, talking.
Tessa the Hungry Giraffe, written by Taylor Dilday, illustrated by Jane Doe. When you hear the sound, you will know to turn the page.
Like I said earlier, this pause right here is where my little turn the page sound would have been. Well, then I have right here, I've said you will know to turn the page. Then, while this right before this transition's over, I want to have that sound playing again. So right about here where my cursor is where I need that transition, the turn the page sound, to be playing. That way, when it goes over, you automatically start talking.
Vocabulary. Stranger. A person you do not know or have never met.
And you would turn the page. So that means that this slide, I'm going to have to change the duration of that to come all the way. I need it to stop here. So let's see what the duration of this slide is. We're going to go to video tools. It says 20. So let's knock it down to 12. Let's see what happens. Alrighty, play.
Vocabulary. Stranger. A person you do not know or have never met.
And then page turn sound. Transition. Next thing that you're saying.
Very hungry giraffe.
Page sound.
Tessa loved to
Then you would
run.
transition right after that page sound. So right here, this one needs to be shortened as well, because this little area right here is the only thing I said for that page. So I need that, and then right beside it, we're going to pretend that I have my page sound there, and then it needs to transition. It needs to transition over to the next slide. So this one is also 20 seconds long. So let's change it to 12. See what happens. Well, that's still too long. So now we're going to change it to 8. Let's do 8. 8's not quite enough. So 8.5. Let's try that. Now that we have it at 8.5, we're going to pretend that I had my page turns down here, then I have the transition right here. Well, there's still a little bit of space, so I can afford to take this and put it right here before this transition, split, and take out a little bit of that sound. Then I will split again, that little bitty section that I don't want. So I'm going to pull this little section, oh, not the cursor. Oh, goodness, please work. Why is it doing that? Okay, there we go. Remove. I have this little one right here, and I want to remove that one also. Don't know why it made 3 different ones. Okay, undo, because I don't know why that just did that. But anyways, I'm going to move this here. Well, I don't understand why it's deleting all of my audio. Okay. So let's see what this does. I need all of this. So let's just move this here. We're going to move this down. We're going to move this down. We're not even going to get rid of it yet because I don't know why those are causing problems with the other audio. We're going to fuse these together. Okay, now let's see. Like I said, we're pretending right here where this cursor is where I played my page sound. So page sound, transition, then start talking.
Tessa was a very hungry giraffe.
Page sound, then transition, then speak again.
Tessa loved to run, jump, frolic, and play. But most of all, she loved to eat.
Page sound, then transition. So now that means I need to make this slide shorter as well because it's too long. So we go back to video tools. We're going to say that this one only needs to be 10 seconds. That's too short. So now I need to take it back up some. Let's say 14 seconds. So right here is our page sound. Transition. You could afford to lose a little bit of space here because there's too much of a, not necessarily. Right about here you could use to lose a little bit of space. So we're going to go to our narration tools, split, move this over just a little bit. Cursor, move it here, split. Okay, really? It's frustrating. You have to work with it. I don't know why it's breaking off pieces that I didn't want broken off, but all right, let's see what we've got. Let's play it.
Tessa was a very hungry giraffe.
Page turn, transition.
Tessa loved to run.
Okay. So this is where I was splitting it. split. Why is it multiplying that? Remove, remove, remove. Let's just move that down for now because I don't know what it's going to do to the rest of the audio. What is that?
Was a very hungry giraffe.
Okay.
Tessa was a
Okay, I don't know why that copied itself, but we're going to delete it. Let's delete that. Let's delete this. You just have to keep checking behind yourself because it'll do little errors like this, and you just have to roll with it. It's frustrating. I don't like it, but it is how it is. So just keep playing with it until you get it. And just check behind yourself every step of the way. Check behind yourself to make sure you didn't miss anything, because if you miss something and audio goes missing and then you finish it, you don't want to have to start all over. So do it step by step. All right. So we have me speaking, then we have the imaginary page turn sound, and then we have our transition. And now we're going to move this over just a little bit to make it merge with that kind of. So now let's play from here. So we have the end of me talking, page turn sound, transition, talking.
Tessa loved to run, jump, frolic, and play. But most of all, she loved to eat.
Okay. Page turn sound and then transition. So this one is still a little bit too long. So we're going to have to change duration of the slide to 13.5. Let's try that. Oh my God. Why is it doing that to my audio? It's so frustrating. All right, let's move our audio away a little bit. Let's move it away from that side so that maybe the slide won't affect it. So let's go to video tools, mess with that slide, and then we can move our audio back to meet with it. Now move it back, merge it, see what we got. Alrighty. So you got a little bitty pause.
Tessa loved to run, jump, frolic, and play. But most of all, she loved to eat.
Page turn sound, transition. Talking.
Tessa's favorite foods are leaves and fruit.
Page turn sound, transition. So right here is where I need to remove some space. So I'm going to go to my narration tools, and I'm going to split it. Let's see what's the best way to move this. Wait a minute. Number one, actually, let's hit undo. Let's not split that yet. First, wait a minute. Was I going to split that for the sake of? Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to move it from this last point that we edited. So we're going to move it down to here because this is the other slide. This is the next slide. So what I need to do is edit this slide down. This one that I'm working on currently is 20 seconds long. I need to make it shorter. Let's try 15. Then we move our audio back up to where this merge point is right here, where we left off. And now we have talking, page sound, transition, start from there.
Tessa's favorite foods are leaves and fruits.
Page turn sound, transition. Still too long. Let's move this down to the next slide. Wherever you want, doesn't really matter. It just needs to be in the right place. So I figured out the trick to it is that when you've got audio, when you're editing your audio, the next slide, if you have to change the duration of the slide itself, you need to move the last piece of audio that you edited. So this right here would be the last piece. I edited between this piece, and that was the last one. So I need to move this one to a slide that I'm not currently working on, so that when I change the duration of this slide right here, it's not going to get rid of my audio with it. So that's the problem I was having, and it was because I wasn't doing it that way. So we've set it to 15 to try to make it shorter. Didn't work. Let's try 12.5. Let's move it back exactly the way we had it before. I think we could stand to lose a little bit of space here. Let's move my cursor about right here and split. And we'll move it right here to cut some of that space out. Split, move this piece because we're using this, move it down here, and you move this little tiny piece away. Right click, remove, bam, it's gone. Now, okay, go back. Alrighty. Now we have this piece, merge it with this one. Then you have sound.
His favorite foods are leaves and fruits.
Page turn, transition. Still too long, so I have to keep moving this to the next slide until I get this slide the correct amount of time. So let's try 9 seconds. That might help. Let's see. Move this piece back. Play it again. Come on.
His favorite foods are leaves and fruits.
Page turn sound. Transition. Speaking.
Tessa also likes walking with her mother to the watering hole every day.
Page turn sound. Transition. Okay, now this one's too long. Now I have to move this audio down to this next slide. This is the slide I'm working on. This is the next slide. So this audio, where I last edited it, I have to pull all of that down and then work on this slide and change the... So let's pull this back up and see about how much time I think I need to cut off of that slide. So this is where it ended. So page turn sound, so my transition needs to be right here. So this needs to be about half of what it is right now. So we move our audio back down, click on this slide, video tools, edit, change the duration. Let's change it to 10.5. See what happens. Move our audio back up to where, ooh, let's hit undo because I don't know what I just did. Okay. Now let's more carefully pull our audio back up and see what we've got to work with.
His
Talking.
favorite foods are leaves and fruits.
Page turn sound. Transition. Talking
Tessa
again.
also likes walking with her mother to the watering hole every day.
Page turn sound. Transition.
One day, her mother got sick and could not walk with her. Tessa walked alone.
Page turn sound. Transition. So this one needs to be about the same as the last one. So we need to take about half off. But first we move our audio like we did before to the next slide, the one after the one that we are currently working on. So this one is 20 seconds. We're going to edit it take it to 10.5, see what happens. Move your audio back up carefully, which I failed to do the time before. And then we'll move our cursor down to this slide that we are working on. Which one am I working on? Let me see, is this the one? Yeah.
One day, her mother got sick and could not walk with her. Tessa walked alone.
Page turn sound, transition,
A
talking.
strange rhino walked up to Tessa along the way. Would you like to walk with me to the wild berry bushes? He asked her.
Page turn sound, transition.
Tessa wondered.
So this slide is too long as well. So now what are we going to do? This is the slide we're working on. This is the slide after it. We move our audio down to the slide after it. Click on this slide, change the duration. It looks like it needs to be about half. 10.5. Let's try it again. See if that's the magic number all the way through. Maybe. May not be, but sometimes it can be. Alrighty. Everything else is good. Let's start here. Page turn sound. Transition. Speaking.
A strange rhino walked up to Tessa along the way. Would you like to walk with me to the wild berry bushes? He asked her.
No, that was too much cut off. So now I need to move this down to the next slide again. And click on the slide I had previously been working on, which I changed to 10.5, and I'm going to change this to, let's say, 13. Maybe that's a good number. Move my audio back up. Pull my cursor down. Alrighty. Page turn sound. Transition. Speaking.
A strange rhino walked up to Tessa along the way. Would you like to walk with me to the wild berry bushes? He asked her.
Page turn sound. Transition.
Tessa wondered to herself, should I go with the rhino even though I don't know him? Tessa remembered what her mother had told her before.
Page turn sound. Transition. So now this one is the one we're working on. Too long. And actually, this one right here, we can split this one, not because we really need to take space off, but for the simple fact that we're going to bring our cursor right around here because we want to split this. Because it tries to start the audio before the transition is over, so we want to cut that. We want to make sure that doesn't happen. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drag this over just a little bit after splitting it. What is that?
Tessa wondered.
Okay, let's see, what is that? Remove. Oh, no, that wasn't supposed to happen.
Tessa wondered to herself.
Okay. Move it over. What is this? Okay. Move. Okay, so I moved whatever that was that it made a copy of. I moved that away from it so that I could remove it. If you have a piece that for some reason it cuts an extra piece, move that extra piece away from all the rest of the audio and then right click it and remove it. Because sometimes if you right click and remove it when it's between the other two pieces, you can lose the piece after it and then you have to undo. So what I did, just to make sure that you understand, right here, originally this is what the audio looked like, basically. And so as it was transitioning, I started talking. So the reason I cut that out, cut that little tiny piece out, was so that I can move this over and then bam, transition, start talking.
Should I go with the rhino even though I don't know him? Tessa remembered what her mother had told her before.
Okay, so that should have been page sound and then the transition would be next. But as you can see, there's a little bit of audio right here. So now I need to change the duration of my slide, the one that I'm currently working on. So I'm going to move this over to this slide I've been doing all along. Click on the slide I want to change the duration of. And we'll do 13 since that worked in the last one, and see if it is our magic number here. Let's move that over just a smidge more. Perfect. Play.
Tessa wondered to herself, should I go with the rhino even though I don't know him? Tessa remembered what her mother.
Okay. So I'm assuming that that's too much. No. That's too much time. There's still too much time in this duration. So I'm going to knock it down to 10.5. Move my sound over. Oops. I have it talking before the transition. I can move it a little bit further back. Little bit further. There we go. Perfect. Now it's not long enough because this was my ending point where I talked, and then this would be my page sound, and then after that would be the transition. So now it's not long enough. Well, let's figure out what to do about that. Click on the slide again. Do 11.5. Pull my audio back. Perfect. Let's see. Still too short. So 13 was too long, but 11.5 is too short. Let's try 12.5. I think if we move this just a little bit over to meet the other one some. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe it needs to be longer than 13. Or 12.8. Still not quite enough. So it is going to be more than 13. I don't know why. Sometimes it can be a little funky and you just have to work with it and see if you can figure it out. So this is one of those times where it's being a little strange because I thought 13 was too long. Oh, here we go. Perfect. 13.2. That was the magic number in this situation. So we have, let's play the part that we just made.
Tessa wondered to herself, should I go with the rhino even though I don't know him? Tessa remembered what her mother had told her before.
Sound transition.
You should never go anywhere with a stranger, her mother had said before. Tessa decided not to go with the rhino.
Page turn sound transition. So now this one is too long. So this is the slide I'm working on. Move this sound over to the next slide after the transition a little bit, because if you do it before the transition, it's technically still in the slide you're working on and you don't want that. So you want it past the triangle on the next slide. So now we click on the slide that we're working on like we've been doing the entire time, and we just cut off some of the duration. Let's see, 15. Let's try that. Right here. Okay. This is the one I'm working on. So that's your page turn sound. And then your transition, I guess. Hold on. Actually, I could stand to take a little off right here in the middle of this one. And the reason is then you wouldn't have to, because the way I have this part right here, right now, the page turn sound and the transition will be happening at the exact same time. So what I can do is I can bring my cursor, my little black line right here, go to narration, split, then bring it over here. split part of this, and bingo. Move this over a little bit. You know what? For the sake of, I'm going to add a credit slide just for the sake of making this long. Let's make this credit slide 40 seconds. Please. Please make it 40 seconds. I would appreciate that. There we go. I'll see if I can, no. What did I just do? All right, now I've separated that piece that I just deleted. Remove. Now I can, oh, there's a piece there too. You got to be careful about these tricky little pieces of audio that copy themselves and then you have to delete them. So right here we can delete this because this is just it made its own copy for whatever reason. It has that malfunction. It makes a copy sometimes. So you have to separate it. You have to catch it. And the way you can catch it is if you see the dots on this part that you split away from this part, and then you see another part that has dots too, then you know there's an extra part. So you need to drag that away. And if you've run out of room like I did before, you just add an extra slide that you're going to delete later and make the duration long enough to hold some of the audio that you're dragging down there. And then you can right click, remove, bam. And so what we want is we still want a little bit of a pause between saying those two. So now we're going to drag this a little bit more. Please. There we go. Let's see if this is too fast. Come on, play.
Tessa wondered to herself, should I go with the rhino even though I don't know him? Tessa remembered what her mother had told her before.
Page turns down, transition. Perfect.
You should never go anywhere with a stranger, her mother had said before. Tessa decided not to go with the rhino.
Page turns down, transition.
Sorry.
So now we're going to move this to that next slide like we did before, like we've been doing the entire time. And we're going to make this one a little bit shorter. So let's do 14.75. See what that does. Let's start from here. Start from this middle point right here. So we have talking.
Not to go with the rhino.
Page turn sound. Transition.
Sorry, my mother told me not to go anywhere.
That's a little bit too long. So move your sound again. You gotta be careful because sometimes it does its own thing. When your mouse lags, click on it. So let's do 14.5. Come on, please work. All right, move my cursor here. Now let's play it from here. Page turn sound, transition. We're going to leave that one because that one's close enough. But what we are going to do is right here in this audio, we're going to go to narration tools and we're going to split it. And the reason for that is because we just want to pull this over here because this starts here. And see, once again, we have a copy. Pull it down, right click, remove. Bam, perfect. And you want this piece right here because I've started talking. So I have my page turn sound here, and then there's the transition right here. And then now I'm starting to talk again. Come on.
Sorry, my mother told me not to go anywhere with someone I don't know. Tessa said to the rhino.
Whoa, what did I do? Am I missing one? Okay, I'm missing a slide. Hold up. Let me put my cursor here, go to home, add, see which one is this. Okay, there we go. Tessa. Okay. This is the one that belongs there. Sorry about that. I must have missed one. So, Tessa, you should never go anywhere with a stranger. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. Oh, let's wait. Let's add our transition to this one because I just added that one in. Okay, why is it giving me weird transitions now? Come on. All I want is the page flip. Thank you. There we go. So now we got our transition. Come on. Move our audio back up where we had it before. Now that I've fixed that problem, let's play it. Make sure it's right.
Sorry, my mother told me not to go anywhere with someone I don't know, Tessa said to the rhino.
Okay, so now it has transitioned too soon. So we're going to move the audio to this next slide. So I would say we need about 5 more seconds. So let's say 12.5 is what we're going to go with. Pull it back up and see what happens. Pulled it a little bit too far. There we go. Judging by this, we have this is where it's ending, and page turn sound transition should be here. So I could stand to make this a little bit shorter. So we're going to move it back to the next slide. And 12.2 is going to be our number. Move it back, see if that was the magic number for this one. Actually, you know what? We're going to make it the magic number for this one, if I can. So we're going to split right here, and I'm going to move this over. Okay, so it's still a little bit too long. Totally okay. We'll move this down here, and then move this over here. Make it a little bit short. Oh, no, not my intention. Okay, we're on the right side. Okay, 12. Let's just do 12. Okay.
Sorry, my mother told me not to go anywhere with someone I don't know, Tessa said to the rhino.
Page turns down, transition. Okay, perfect. That's good enough. Now we'll move this piece back and see what we've got to do here.
Tessa continued walking to the waterhole by herself.
Page turn, transition. So this one is very, very short. So this is all of this right here is 41 seconds. So let's see how much this takes up. So if you hover over it while this is playing.
Tessa continued walking to the water hole by herself.
Actually, I can watch my time. See, this is the time that's running. So I can go, we'll start here. 2 minutes, 8 seconds.
Tessa
9,
continued walking
10,
to the water hole by
11,
herself.
12, 13. So 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. That was about 5 seconds. So I'm going to say that this one only needs about 6. Ooh, no. Didn't want to move the slide. We're going to say that this slide only needs 6.2. Let's keep it at that. Whoop, come on. Move my audio over like we've been doing this entire time. That's a little bit too short, it looks like. So move it back. Make this 6.4. I'll put 6.45 and see if that does anything. We're going to need 7. Let's say 7. Ooh, no. Drag my audio. Come on. That should give us enough time.
Tessa continued walking to the water hole by herself.
Patron sound, transition. Good.
Tessa returned home and told her mother what had happened.
Okay, so now this slide is too long. Now one thing I can do is I can split it right here so that I can move this piece away. And so I only have to look at this piece when I put it back right here with these 2 slides that it belongs with. So I'm going to split it. I'm going to move this as far over as I can. Then I'm going to move this here. Let's move this over just a little bit more. That way they're separate. All right, now this is the one that I'm working on. This one is 20 seconds, just like the other ones that I started out. So now let's say 10. 10 might be a pretty good number. Let's play from here.
Tessa returned home and told her mother what had happened.
Page turn sound, transition. Okay, that wasn't exactly right. We can stand to make it a little bit shorter, so we'll move it over here. Uh-oh. Where's my the end slide? Okay, before we start working on this one, let me add in my the end slide because I swear I had it in here before, but now it's gone missing. So let's just put that in. Also missing my check for knowledge. Goodness gracious. I think in the process of editing, it's cut out a few things. So just watch and be mindful and make sure nothing has been cut out, because you have to really catch that before it actually becomes a problem. Or else you're going to be really mad when you finish most of it and you realize, oh, wow, it got rid of something that I needed. Great. Because we don't want that. Okay. Okay. Tessa returned home. The end. Okay, yeah, that's the story. Now, back to what we were doing. Video edit. Pull this just to see where I left off because I just got off track right then. Alrighty. Come on. Alright. So that one is still, this one is still.
Returned home and told her mother what had happened.
Page turn sound transition. That's a little bit too long still. Okay, so we're working on this slide right here, and it's 10 seconds. So let's go 9.5. Pull our audio back right here. We'll pull this right here. Play.
So returned home and told her mother what had happened.
Page turn sound transition. That's close enough for me. Alrighty. Now we have this. Let's see.
The end.
Okay. 219.
The end.
221. Please stop. Goodness. Alright, so we're going to move this over. I don't need much of it. This can be very, very short. This looks like it's only going to need, let's do 4 seconds. For the simple fact that we really don't need that much flow.
The end.
Just go back, test it again.
The end.
Patrons, nope, too fast. Let's drag it over a little bit.
The end.
Patrons, no, way too fast. So let's change that to 5.5.
The end.
Page turn sound, transition. Bam. Awesome. Now it looks like because of our audio for check for knowledge, let's just split this right here. We're going to split it for the simple fact of making it easier to move the check for knowledge part away from this part that we've already finished, because we really don't want to mess with something that we've already done, that we've already perfected. So let's just split it, and then we'll move this one part away over here. So it looks like that was too long, too short. We're going to put 12.5. Let's try that. So this is where we have check for knowledge starting.
Check for knowledge. Have you ever been approached by a stranger?
Now, one way we can make
What
this
would
shorter is to edit right here and take some of this space out. Not too much, because you don't want your questions to run together, but just enough to delete some of that space, because you don't want too much of a pause in between. So we'll do this. Take this little chunk out, move this away a little bit, move this away a little bit. And now it's wanting to make a copy again. So we're going to do this. Now let's make sure this is right. Check for knowledge. First question.
Have you ever been approached by a stranger?
Check, make sure this is the right one.
What would you say if a
Okay. Now pull it back together. Now, first of all, let's go ahead and remove this, because this is not needed. These are extras. Over here at the end, we can get rid of this space, because there's nothing other than the page turn at the end. So we want to leave enough space for that page turn, because technically, we're technically speaking, that page turn is right here at the end, so that it moves over to the credits. But we don't need all of this space behind it, so I'm going to edit some of that off real quickly just to make this easier to work with. Right click, remove, bam. Alrighty. So all of this right here. Let's see what we're starting at. 2 minutes and 25 seconds. Then we'll play it all the way to the end of this and see how long that took. So 25,
Check
26.
for knowledge. Have you ever been approached by a stranger? What would you say if a stranger asked you to go somewhere with them? Do you think that Tessa did the right thing? Why or why not?
So about 2:43. So we started at 2:25, 43. Okay, 20. So that's about 18 seconds different. Right here, we can eliminate some of that. We'll do what we did at the back end of it, and we'll take a little bit of that off, just for the sake of making it easier to work with. Split, move this over. Once again, we've got a copy, move it down. We've got this, move it down. Remove, remove. This is unneeded. Now we will move these together. And so this is what we have to work with. So this is 5 seconds. This is 4. This is 5 sec. This is almost 6 seconds. This is almost 5 seconds. This is almost 6.5. So 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 and a half. That's about 17.5 seconds. And then we'll need about 18 or 19. So let's move all of this over here. Do this. This is at 12:50. So let's do 19. Let's try 20. We move this over to meet with that one. And then we move this one over to meet with that one. And then you got a little bit of time. Okay, let's play it and see if we think this is close enough. So we've got transition is finishing.
Check for knowledge. Have you ever been approached by a stranger? What would you say if a stranger asked you to go somewhere with them? Do you think that Tessa did the right thing? Why or why not?
Sound, transition. Perfect. So you just did the whole movie. Now we're going to delete this last credit slide that we used to move the video further because we don't need it. So now you have your credit slide. You change the duration of that to be whatever you need it to be. So let's look at our credit slide for a second and edit it. So put my name here because I'm the director of this. You've already put in this information, but I'm going to put it in just for the sake of watching it roll through and seeing how long this credit slide needs to last, how long the duration of the slide should be, so that one can see all the credits and know whose work all of this is. So the illustrations, who directed it, who voiced it, the sound, because we also have to put in our music after this, and I'll show you how to do the music. But first, I am going to, director, Taylor Bilbay. Spread this out a little bit so it is all in one line. Awesome. Narration. Character voices. Since I did the narration and the character voice, I'm gonna put it like that. You don't have to worry about that because you had 2 people do character voices and then 1 person was a narrator. So mine is narration and character voices because I'm the only one who did them. So now I'm going to move down to illustrations, and like I said earlier, the illustrations were by Jane Doe. It's not an actual person, it's just something I made up. Sound, we'll put music. Let's put music instead of sound. Blank from Ben Sound. So I didn't need more than 1 slide, so I'm going to get rid of this one. I'm going to remove this second one. So I only need this one. I just need to change the duration of this one slide, and we're going to change it to 12 seconds. And then we're going to change the text duration as well to, let's see, 10 seconds. That's moving in pretty slowly. I need to move it over. It's off center, but it looks pretty good. So awesome. We're going to move my cursor back over here. I'm going to click on this and make this centered properly so it doesn't look ridiculous. And then play it. Perfect. Just got to add the name of my sound in the music that I get from Ben Sound, but I haven't done that yet. So now, at some point, I would recommend when you know that you haven't made any mistakes, at some point, which I failed to do that until now at the very end, it would be smart to, as you go through the movie and you've gotten certain parts done, you press Save Project. So Save Project As, the first time you save, you do Save Project As. So I'm going to change this to Tessa the Hungry Giraffe because that is the name of my story. And then I'm going to put movie after it. Save. My movie is saved so far. What I have done right now is saved. So all of this is good. I need to change this. Well, okay. Here we go. My movie. We'll change that. Tessa the Hungry Giraffe by Taylor Building. Oof, that is too small. Movie. I'll just make this slightly bigger. That's too big. 36. That is better. Let's widen it out. That's pretty wide. Move it down to the center some. That is pretty close to perfect. Now let's start from the beginning and see what we have. Tessa the Hungry Giraffe movie by Taylor Building.
Tessa the Hungry Giraffe written by Taylor Dilday, illustrated by Jane Doe. When you hear sound, you will know to turn the page. Vocabulary. Stranger, a person you do not know or have never met. Tessa was a very hungry giraffe. Tessa loved to run, jump, frolic, and play. But most of all, she loved to eat. Tessa's favorite foods are leaves and fruit. Tessa also likes walking with her mother to the watering hole every day. One day, her mother got sick and could not walk with her. Tessa walked alone. A strange rhino walked up to Tessa along the way. "Would you like to walk with me to the wild berry bushes?" he asked her. Tessa wondered to herself, should I go with the rhino even though I don't know him? Tessa remembered what her mother had told her before. "You should never go anywhere with a stranger," her mother had said before. Tessa decided not to go with the rhino. "Sorry, my mother told me not to go anywhere with someone I don't know," Tessa said to the rhino. Tessa continued walking to the waterhole by herself. Tessa returned home and told her mother what had happened. The end. Check for knowledge. Have you ever been approached by a stranger? What would you say if a stranger asked you to go somewhere with them? Do you think that Tessa did the right thing? Why or why not?
So as you can see, we have a full movie here, with the exception of the fact that we don't have music yet. But as you can see, when I played that movie, it played smoothly and everything transitioned correctly. And if you just, to make sure that you remember, these little spaces right here between the audio and the transition point, that is where my imaginary turn the page sound exists. So right here we have an imaginary turn the page sound. Right here we have an imaginary turn the page sound. One here, one here, one here, 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 there, and so on and so forth. So basically what I'm saying is that we're pretending that my turn the page sound was there, because I couldn't get mine to work where it would only play one time instead of playing over and over again. So I just decided I'll just pretend that there's one there. But in yours, you will have a turn the page sound, and you have to fit it. You have to make sure it doesn't transition to the next slide before your turn the page sound happens. It can still be playing the turn the page sound it can be still playing towards the end of the sound when it starts to transition or while it's transitioning, but it does not need to be, the sound should not be going off after the transition is already finished, is what I'm trying to say. But now we have something else to do. Now we have to pick our music. Well, I am going to stop sharing my screen for just a second. We're going to stop sharing. I'm going to share again. I'm going to go to the internet and show. Oh, okay, right here. And so you go to bensound.com. Just Google bensound, and then it should bring you to the right website. You click on it, and it shows you this. You have all these sounds. You just pick one. You play them until you find the one that you want, and when you find the one that you want that you think would go with how fast that you're reading your children's book, then you just click this download button. So I'm going to click download to show you what happens. So now it says purchase pro license or free Creative Commons license. So you're just going to hit this download button, and then as you see at the bottom of my screen, Bensound Ukulele just downloaded. So then you would click to open the file. Well, then it plays the sound. And then you can X out. It'll show you, it'll pop up kind of like when you put a movie in. Something pops up down here that says that your movie player is running and that it has a DVD in it. Well, whenever you click on this, something similar to that happens. A little icon pops up, and then it allows you to listen to the whole sound if you want to, but you can just X out of that. So once you have downloaded it, the only thing that you need to do is X out of this, and then you'll go back to your movie. So I'm going to stop sharing again, reshare, go back to my movie. No, that's not my movie. Here's my movie. Okay, and if you can see my screen right now, we're back at my movie. What we're going to do is we're going to go put our cursor back here. We're going to go to add music. And for my sound, I decided to use, it's going to take me to my files when I do that. Well, it's supposed to take me to my files when I do that. And it's not really doing anything else. So, whoop, here we go. It was lagging. Sorry about that. So, typically what happens is it typically will bring you to this PC. Well, go to your downloads, and it should say Bensound, and then have whichever one you downloaded. I've downloaded a whole bunch, so I have a whole bunch. I've even made a specific folder for Bensound music, but you don't have to do that. You just, whenever it brings you to your files after you click add music, you go to downloads, then it shows you all the music files you have, and you pick whichever one of those Bensound ones. So if you picked creative, then you're going to click on creative. Bensound creative, and then it's going to add that into your movie. But I picked cute, so we're going to add that into my movie. And now we're going to see what happens. We're going to play it.
Tessa the Hungry Giraffe, written by Taylor Dilday, illustrated by Jane Doe. When you hear
it sounds like my music might be a little bit too loud, and that's okay right here at this first part. But once I start to talk, I need to go to my music tools and mess with the music volume. So we're going to turn the music volume down just a hair. So if you don't remember what I just did, I'm at home. I'm at the home tab. So I pull wherever my audio starts, I'm going to pull this icon, this little cursor, the black line, right before it, and then I'm going to go to Music Tools up here where it says Options, click on that, and then I will click Music Volume, and it typically has it starting in the middle that way. It's not totally overpowering your audio that you've already put in there, your narration, so to speak, but your narration isn't exactly more emphasized than your music either. They're about equal, and you don't want that. You want your music to be a little less than. So let's try that. Now let's play. And also you want it to fade in at the beginning. So you're going to pull your cursor back here, and in your music options, when you go back to this tab right here where it says Music Tools Options, you're going to click at the beginning, at this very first title slide, right here at the beginning, you're going to click Fade In. Oh, no, you don't click on it. Here's a box that says None. You click on the arrow, and I'm going to say Medium. I want it to fade in medium. And then, since while we're at it, I'm going to go about right here and say this is where I want it to start fading out at the end. And I'm going to say medium. So let's see how our fade in works.
See, it's gradually getting louder.
Tessa the Hungry Giraffe.
And see, my music just got a little bit quieter because I made it do that.
When you hear this sound, you will know to turn the page. Vocabulary. Stranger. A person you do not know or have never met. Tessa was a very hungry giraffe. Tessa loved to run, jump, frolic, and play. But most of all, she loved to eat. Tessa's favorite foods are leaves and fruits. Tessa also likes walking with her mother to the watering hole every day. One day, her mother got sick and could not walk with her. Tessa walked alone. A strange rhino walked up to Tessa along the way. Would you like to walk with me to the wild berry bushes?
Okay, so you get the idea of throughout the middle. Once I changed the volume of the music and turned it down a little bit, it no longer overpowers the narration, and it's not equal to the narration sound. So now I'm going to come over here at the end so you can kind of see what it's like when it fades out. And now you can hear it fade out. And there you go. Now you have a movie. So just to make sure you remember what I said about the music, right now I've put my cursor at the very beginning. I want to make sure that it fades in with this very first title slide. So you go to where it says fade in. Right here there's a box. It should say none when you look at it. So this is what you'll see. And then you're going to change it to medium so that it doesn't fade in too slowly. It fades in medium, just right. Then you also want to make sure not exactly at the end, because if you do it at the very, very end, then there is no fade out. You have to do, to fade out, you have to do it a little bit before. Maybe you want to start right here. Well, then you're going to go to fade out. Click the arrow. At first it'll say none, but then you change it to medium, and then you can, when you look at the final product, it'll start fading out when you're listening to it. And then remember, before any of your audio, like the very beginning of all of the audio, which was right here, I want to make sure that I click on music volume. And at first you're going to see it's in the middle. That way it's not overpowering, but it's also not, the narration is not emphasized more than the music. So they're about equal right now. But you want to make it a little less than equal. That way the music is not equal to the narration. The narration is the focus. The music is just something that is there to make it less boring. I mean, it's a children's book, so it's not too boring, but the music just kind of helps the kid, helps a child connect to the book and really want to read it or listen to it. And so make sure you turn your volume down just a little bit below the middle to make sure that when you're reading, the music is not equal to the narration and it doesn't overpower the narration. So as long as you've done all this, you should be fine. And then you have a movie. So we've already checked my movie. So now I'm going to go here. I'm going to save my movie. And I'm going to save it as the recommended setting for this project, which is this very first one. So I'm going to click on this. You go to, like I said, save movie, recommended for this project, click. And then it'll save as whatever the title of it is. You click save. And then now you see this loading bar because it's loading. It might take it a little while, depending on how long your movie is. But that is okay. And you just wait for that to finish loading. And then you can put it into YouTube. And to put it into YouTube, I'm not going to show you how to put it into YouTube. It's not very hard. You just go to YouTube, hit upload video, and then you click, then it'll bring you to your files, and then you find the video, which I will show you right after this loads how to find your video file, because this is going to save as a video in just a minute after it finishes loading. Almost there, we're about 50% of the way. This is going to, I'm just going to say while this is loading, when you're working on this, it's going to take time. So the important thing is just pay attention to what I've said. If you need to, which actually I really highly encourage you when you're watching the video, notice, constantly be scrolling. Okay, so you know where the little bar is that moves as you're watching a video? When you're watching a YouTube video, there's a bar at the bottom, and as you're going through the video, this little circle, white circle, is moving, and then behind it, it fills up with red, and it just keeps moving forward and forward and forward until it gets to the end of the video. Well, hover over that and see about what times, like do landmark numbers. So at this, around this specific time, Taylor talked about this. And then after that, at this specific time, Taylor talked about this. Write it down. That way, if you have to come back to the video because you're having trouble, you can go back to that specific time in which I was talking about something specific that you need help with, and you can go back to that specific time rather than watching the whole video all over again. You just put landmark times. Write down when I talked about a certain thing, and just keep doing that all the way through. Okay. But now, to get back to our movie, it says you can play your video file now or open the folder that it's in. Well, you can watch the video and play your movie as it is in the file. The only problem is Dr. Stone wants a link for your video. So that's why you have to put it into YouTube. So now we're going to open folder just to see where it's at. Open folder, please. Okay, so it says it's in my pictures, and it's all the way down here at the bottom. So just make sure that whenever it finishes loading that movie, making it into a movie, you click open folder so that you can see over here which folder it's in. And you don't need to click on it, you just need to X out of it as soon as you know which folder it's in. And then we can minimize. I'm going to stop sharing so that I can share the internet screen. We're going to go to YouTube. Come on, internet, load. I know it's late at night, but come on. Help me out. All right. Now, we're at YouTube as soon as it loads fully. Well, right here it says create a video or post. Click on that. It says upload video. That's what you want to click. You want to click upload video. Now you select files to upload. And now is when you need to remember which folder it was in. For mine, it said it was in the pictures folder. So now I go to pictures, I scroll all the way down, and I look for this movie, wherever it is. Test of the Hungry Giraffe movie. I found it. Click it, open. And there you have it. Now it's going to take it a while to upload this video fully. Because it's MovieMaker, it's going to take a while. So just leave your laptop open. Try to keep the screen from falling asleep while it's uploading. And then when it finishes uploading completely, you will click publish. And then once you click publish, it'll take you to where your video is, and it'll show you your URL. Which hopefully I can leave this video. It won't take it too long, hopefully. I'm hoping. If it does, then I might have to cut the video short, but you'll figure it out either way. But really, I mean, I think I've basically covered everything. And unfortunately, yeah, also, not only do you have to wait for it to upload, you have to wait for it to process. Once it finishes processing, you can click publish, but you have to wait for it to finish processing completely. But at this point on, you're going to be on your own with this project, and it's going to be up to you to finish it and to make it happen. Almost every question I can think of that you would have about MovieMaker has been answered in this video. So I wish you the best of luck. I know you can do it. You just got to stick with it. You got to not let it get you down. Because when you have all these little things inside of it going wrong, it's easy to be like, get so discouraged and say, you know what? I don't like this. This is stupid. You know, I don't want to do this anymore. But you really got to keep your head up and stay positive and keep with it. If you need to, if you're getting frustrated about it, take a break. Take a break. And so now the processing is done, so I can hit publish. And there you go. This gives you your YouTube link. So you're going to copy that. And that's what you want to put in that final project. You want to hyperlink it to the word Storybird movie. Copy. And now I will send. Well, I don't need to send it, but I'll send it to you anyways. Here, I'll email you right now. And I will send you my finished version so that you can kind of look back and forth at yours before you publish before you save it as a movie. You can look at yours and see, does it meet the same standards as mine? It doesn't have to be the same story or anything. It just needs to transition smoothly. It needs to have all the components mine has. The only difference between yours and mine is that yours has student learning objective or student learning outcome or something like that. Yeah, I think it's student learning objective. Yours has that, and yours also has the turn the page sound. Mine doesn't, but we pretended it did. So that's why there's a little bit of extra space in my video, because there was supposed to be a turn the page sound, but there's not. I'm going to email you my video so you can look at it in reference to yours once you finish yours. My movie. Look at this movie in reference to yours. Once you finish your movie, before saving it as a movie, watch this video to make sure it meets
the same qualifications, has all the correct components required for the assignment. All slides transition smoothly and basically anything covered in the video tutorial I made for the difference between mine and yours is that mine doesn't have a slow slide or the the page sound. Yours still needs those two components. Also, here is the link to the tutorial. Link to my finished movie. It's right here. So I'm gonna paste my link to my movie here for you. That's my YouTube video. And underneath this, once I end this session, which I'm about to do right now, I'm going to put that link in the email as well to the tutorial, and then I'll send it to you, and you'll have this to reference until you finish the movie. Keep in mind that from now on, I really can't answer any questions because I have my own work to do, and SI is ended. I'm not getting paid anymore at all. I don't want to help you. It's just now it's crunch time for me in my other classes. I have a lot of things due, and I really can't work on this anymore. So the ball is in your court. You got this, and just keep positive. Stick with it. If you get really frustrated by it, just take a short break. Go for a walk, get some fresh air, come back fresh-minded and ready to do it again. But okay, so now I'm going to